In our next Just Like Daddy story, we'll see from our video submissions that the Turner family had the most children to serve in the military, with children who graduated from West Point and the Naval Academy and went on to serve just like Daddy. Let's watch Henry's video.
Hi, I'm Henry C. Turner Jr., and I retired from the United States Army as a lieutenant colonel almost 20 years ago. Father's Day is special to me not only because I am a father, but because our father taught 3 sons how to be a true father. Our father, Henry C. Turner, grew up in Mobile, Alabama during segregation. He was able to leave the South through education and through the United States Army. He was drafted into the all-segregated Army, and even though he was a college graduate, he was made an enlisted soldier, just like his father, Private James E. Turner. Our father never let discrimination stop him as he completed his initial enlisted service and then joined the United States Army Reserves. During this time, he went back to college and earned his doctorate in optometry, and then joined the Integrated United States Army as a commissioned officer in the Medical Service Corps. After completing 30 years in the United States Army, he retired as a colonel and the chief of the optometry clinic at Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington, D.C. The first Black to ever hold this position. Yes, I am extremely proud of our father. I say this to tell you that even though he was extremely driven to excel in whatever he did, he was always there for us. One has to ask themselves, how does one get all 4 of their children to follow in your footsteps into the United States military if you did not leave an indelible impression on their lives while growing up? Not only did he leave that indelible impression, but he also got all of his children to go to the college he wanted us to attend. The 3 sons all went to the United States Military Academy at West Point, and the daughter went to the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis. Yes, our father was passionate and driven to excel, and he instilled that into us. All the children retired from the United States military with either an MBA, PhD, or JD on top of their military rank. All of that is nice, but what I remember most for and want to thank him today and always for is for always being there at my football, track, and baseball games, pushing me to excel in grade school, allowing me to spread my wings and go to a diverse public high school in Largo during integration when all I had known before were Catholic, predominantly white schools in the Midwest, and for traveling to West Point to visit me in the hospital when I tore my knee up playing ball. Dad, I know you are looking down from above on us, watching our families grow, with 3 of your grandchildren serving in the United States Army now. I could not have done it without you stepping in at times when I was not there as the best father I could have been to our children. However, you stepped in as a grandfather must, and you had your sons back. Thank you, Dad. Happy Father's Day.
Henry, tell us what it was like for you and your brothers and sister to all graduate from service academies.
It was really an honor for all of us. The 3 of us in the military, in the Army, my sister in the military, in the Navy. We had a wonderful example of what to do by our parents. Mother was a teacher and our father was in the Army. So we always had someone who showed us how to do something properly and how to do it right. And so when our father actually prompted us and pushed me specifically to join the military, I never wanted to do it. I wanted to play in the NFL. But when I really thought about it and thought about the decisions my father had made during his life, I said, he's probably the right person to tell me what to do and how to move down my journey in life. And that's why I chose the Army.
Very nice. I also understand that it doesn't end with your generation. You actually have a son in the military and I believe a niece and a nephew that graduated from West Point today.
Absolutely, Colonel. I'm so proud of that fact that, yes, I have a niece and a nephew, Leah and Michael, that both graduated from West Point. My twin brothers, who graduated from West Point 7 years behind me, those are their children. And we're so proud of them and continue on the Turner legacy in the military. Now, my sister, who graduated from the Naval Academy, she's a little envious of the fact that nobody went into the Navy, but she's so proud of the fact that her niece went in and is serving as well.
That's awesome. I love the Turner legacy modifier that you use. Can you expand on your father being the first African American chief of optometry at Walter Reed? And I understand he came in, enlisted first, but if you can expand on his rise from entry into the military to becoming the first African American chief of optometry at Walter Reed.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so proud of my father, because we all have to remember that back then it was a segregated army. He was drafted in World War II for the war as an enlisted soldier, even though he had already graduated from college. So he came as an enlisted soldier and then served his time therein for about 4 years, got out and joined the reserves. And he stayed in the reserves until he got married. And my mother suggested to him to go back into the Army. And he went ahead, he filled out his paperwork, and this time they brought him in because now you had an integrated Army. And he was able to come in much easier, and he came back in and went to Fort Sam Houston in Texas and went to the Medical Service Corps, and he became an optometrist. And for him to do that during segregation back in the 1957 timeframe is really remarkable, because not only did he enter in back as a private, got out, went in the reserves, came back in now as a lieutenant, but he rose from lieutenant all the way to colonel, full bird. And I'm so happy and proud of that, because he brought us here to Washington, D.C., and he became the first Black to ever be the chief of the optometry clinic at Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington, D.C. And he was also the first Black to ever head up the National Association for the Optometry. So he did well to have risen from Mobile, Alabama, in segregation. You look at what's going on now in our world and just realize that it was worse back then to do what he's done now. He was the example that led us, all 4 of the children, to where we are now. And he was the example, and I'm going to tell you, he's the example for my son, so that my son also joined the military and has made it to major as an engineer during Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Nice. Engineers lead the way. So you're retired now and served 20 plus years. What are you doing with yourself?
Well, after I retired from the military, I really had to think about what I really wanted to do. And I think it goes back to what my father said when we were in the military and we were living here in Bowie, Maryland. He always said, Henry, somebody's gonna make a lot of money off of this land that's out here in Bowie and down in southern Prince George's County. And I took that to heart. And I got into the land development business, and was able to do fairly well in accumulating a vast amount of property, but in building a couple small communities here in the southern portion of Prince George's County. And so I did that, and then I thought I was going to get into the political game, and I got into the political game and ran for county executive, ran for some other things. What I'm so proud about is that even though I didn't make county executive, our sister graduated from the Naval Academy, spent 20 years in, and became a lawyer, is now sitting as Prince George's County Circuit Court judge. So I'm really proud of that.
That's awesome. And an awesome story about your father and his amazing legacy. It's amazing to see so many family members that followed in the footsteps of James Turner. Thank you, Henry, for sharing your Just Like Daddy story. Amazing.
Well, thank you, Colonel. I appreciate it. And to be honest with you, it didn't begin with our father. It began with our grandfather, who came in World War I as a private in the segregated army. So he was the beginning of all this. Thank you, sir.
All right. Awesome.